Okay, I am with Mr. Andrew Mudge at the Montreal Black Film Festival 2013. I just saw his movie, The Forgotten Kingdom, and well, it was a beautiful movie. Mr. Mudge, could you, well, first tell me how it is to be a foreigner in Lesotho and make a film about them, you know, and not a reality film, but not far from it at the same time.
Well, it was, you know, it was much easier than I thought it would be. I spent a lot of time there prior to filming the movie. I had been there for off and on for 5 years, so I spoke the language fairly well. And my brother, who was a Peace Corps and a volunteer in Lesotho, he really knew Lesotho, and he had a lot of contacts. So I was able to sort of ride off of his contacts. By the time the production rolled around, I felt very at home in this country, and by surrounding myself with a team of Lesotho people, so natives from Lesotho, you know, my crew, my producers, my crew, we were supported. The country, everyone was really welcoming to us, and even being a foreigner, people were really just ecstatic that we were we were making a film in their country and in their language and their story. You know, it hasn't been done really. A film in Lesotho, spoken in Sesotho.
And somehow, did you abandon your American eyes, or how do you feel you went into this world without or with your eyes? You know.
Right. Well, I think. I actually think that I gained a lot of perspective from the Basotho culture, but I kept my, you know, I brought myself as a filmmaker, as an artist trained in the States, and I think that's what brought something unique to the story. You know, I think a lot of amazing films have been told about foreigners telling someone else's story, because when you're not from there, you bring a very a new and fresh perspective, and you know, there's countless examples of sort of classic American films that have been done by a European or something like that, and I think there's a lot of value in that. So I stayed true to my vision, which is very much unique to me, my training in this kind of, you know.
Was there a message? I don't know. In the end, he throws his money down on the floor or whatever. Environmental message or philosophical or something?
No, I don't think the film doesn't really have I don't really believe in messages with films. You know? There's that saying, like, if you want to send a message, send a telegraph. But it's a story, and there are messages in there. There are things to take home, of course. I mean, I think the most obvious being it's a going back to your roots story. You know, it's a sort of coming of age story. That's somebody who finds out where his home really is. I think there's messages within that.
How did you find the Q&As here tonight? What would you summarize, basically, the concerns of the people in the room watching?
Well, the Q&As are great, and I was really happy because this was the first Canadian screening of this film in Canada. But the Q&A was really wonderful. People asked very good questions. You'd have to cue me on certain things.
Well, for instance, let's say about the scenery, the poetry of the scenery, or
you know, we filmed. It's hard to not. You know, Lesotho is the star of the film, and it's hard to not make a beautiful film in that country. So it was a matter of just finding, you know, these spots in the country I wanted to film, and sort of organizing the crew around having our bases in the locations that were closest to these beautiful spots.
Basically, and now in the end, do you have any other plans for some other movies or the same type of, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to go back to Africa to make another film. You know, I sort of have, South Africa has become like a second home to me, and sub-Saharan Africa is a big part of my life. My brother lives there, and so I go there very often to visit. And so I have several projects brewing that take place in Africa, and I also have one in the States that I'm trying to get made, because it also takes your traveling so much and living. Sometimes I just want to live a simpler, quieter life.
So I thank you very much, Mr. Mudge, for this nice interview, and I wish you the best luck for this wonderful film.
Thank you very much. Thank you.